Ugh. Probably won't be a long one today. This might actually go by pretty quick. I've got a color picked out for the handles, for like the spears and the swords. We might do some touch-up work with like the gold. I think we'll get to it though. Should be pretty good. Hiya. I kind of want to go look at the models I already have though and see if I did actually do the shader. I don't remember doing it. I feel like some of these shoulder pads don't feel like proper. I don't know. But yeah, detail day. Took some time yesterday, did all the hair up for all the characters and everything. I'm currently signed up for a tournament for 40K, top of February. Kind of want to have most of these guys together. And then the debate is whether or not I want to buy and build that second Land Raider that I'm constantly like flip-flopping on. I might need to put some shader on here. I wonder if sepia actually would work out for that. Let me try it. Now, I say let's try it like I remember where my sepia shader is. I know it's in here. I've seen it a lot. I keep grabbing it when I'm trying to grab other things, and I'm like, damn it, there's that sepia again. I don't know. The alternative would be what? We gotta find it. Ah. It's a little bit better. Gives it a little bit more depth, which is kind of what I was aiming for. I've got this paint on the brush. There we go. Happy little gold. So I think that's what we do. Sepia on the chest plate component. Because it's not overpowering. It's sort of just like a little bit of a drop back with some element of detail being at least applied into the edges. Hell yeah. sure I didn't miss anything. We might also need to do like a flesh tone cover or color for the arms and stuff. Because we did like this pale. I assumed it would look nice, but now I'm really starting to hate it. Oh, where's G-Man Flesh? There it is. G-Man Flesh. Hell yeah. G-Man Flesh. Which we could probably re-highlight back up to Flayed One. But we do have to keep it thin. We're at that point where we've used enough really thick paint that the more I keep pushing onto this, the worse it's going to get. Some ash white down on the palette. We basically just have to gather up all the colors of things that, like, I'm gonna need to just toss on here at some point to be like, oh, I forgot about that. We're also going to need to try to get the yellow down, because I know one of these masks has eye sockets on it that I didn't paint because they weren't fully noticeable at first. flash. Took a look at the box that I take all my stuff in. If I take Fulgrim out of it, I have enough room to put another drawer that I could put my rhinos on, which would then give me room on the bottom of the other part to put another Land Raider. Which is kind of why I'm thinking of getting that second Land Raider. Honestly, I think we stick with the general tassel colors for this stuff. I think that's fine. Can't wait to use the flawless blades and feel very underwhelmed. Right? Like, the amount of people who've talked about flawless blades and being like, oh, they're just the worst. It sucks that they're the unit that the army kind of needs. Because they're not like every army who has that one super unit. Right? That's kind of like them. Where it's just a bunch of troops that walk on the ground and you can barely kill them, and they have like 1,000,000 attacks and all the attacks are really strong. Like, a lot of armies have those squads. And the flawless blades is pretty much it for what could have been that. And they very much aren't that. So I really can't wait, man. I think I'm gonna do 1 big squad, 2 small squads. I think that's the way to go. I'm gonna try to do the big hammer infractor squads. Maybe like a small infractor squad for mechanics and cleanup. Just the one that I skipped the eyes on, yeah. I do feel like there was a lot of missed opportunity to heavily lean into the whole, like, oh, they're just a death metal band concept for the Emperor's Children. Like, if their swords could have, like, elements of them that look like guitars. Same thing with their noise weapons, but maybe that's for the best. Because you never know. The meme would probably sell to a good bit of people, but then the amount of people who would forego wanting this army simply because of the meme versus, like, oh, they have blades and stuff. I don't know. The numbers might be a little close. But could you imagine these guys walking across the field with, like, kind of a blade, but, like, down here there's, like, strings, and oh, it would look so cool. Real question is, do we want to get some other high saturation colors and do like hair streaks in some of their hair? For like the this stuff here. I might apply, hang on. I might apply, let me go here. I might have to go over all of the characters though. The unhelmeted characters. Kind of up their skin tone color. Move it away from hyper pale. Need beverage. I do need to lean more into water. I've been chugging like crazy amounts of diet sodas every day. Let me just put them all over here. Oh, sneeze. Owies. God damn. Something tells me I haven't been doing the abdominal muscles with the wash on most of these characters. I keep forgetting it's there. Hopefully everyone in chat's doing alright. If there is even anyone out there. What up, fat man? 3 o'clock's a weird time to stream. Every time I look at any of my channel analytics for streams, it's always like a couple people, and then 3 o'clock hits and it's like one person or no one. It's like, man. 3 o'clock. Neat. Wait, you're painting objective markers. Are you doing the physical style, like, objective marker then? Like an actual physical one? Because the old system, I know, kind of worked for that. Because when they originally came out in 10th and they were like, you can't stand on the objective marker, that was a thing. But then that caused a lot of problems. Okay. Do you at least have some flats on hand for when you get in serious mode in the game? Because I do like symbolic objectives. I do. But sometimes in 40k it makes a hard time for placing items. Because then suddenly you have vehicles that can't end their maneuvering or something in the area like they should. You can screw up whole army list plans. My schedule's really coming together to be weird. What's up, Francois? Yo, what up, Jack? Get some sepia in there. Make sure. We are on the detail stages, Jack, of these units. Just getting flesh tones on. Making sure the strappings are together. Knocking back some components with sepia tone. Figuring out how I want these like weird shoulder tassels to go. So like they're all pretty close, and then we just gotta do basing. Which is pretty easy. And they're done. Ugh. So the podcast on the game channel that I work on is going to try to record or do it early on Saturday because they want to, you know, do it earlier so that they can watch the playoff game later. And I'm debating just trying to take a game on Saturday, actually head up to the store and test out a list because I'm signed up for a tournament at the beginning of next month. I don't know what's wrong with BCP. I guess they changed how the thing works. They got rid of our histories unless you pay subscriptions for it. And that somewhere along the way, I guess, made it so if you log in through their website, it won't redirect to the app properly. It's weird. So I had to reset all that so I can log into it properly. But now we're back up and running. I kind of want to test just the Peerless Bladesman list. I know everyone and their mom's like all about the Phoenician court. But I kind of want to just be like all foot soldiers. Dive into someone and just go lethal sustain. We'll keep Gilliman Flesh out for when we start looking at the regular people. We'll which we should probably do now. I'm a little pissed because my plan tonight was to head back to the store where I played at that tournament, because I still have the $100 that I won in a store credit, and I was like, oh, I'll buy the Land Raider that I think I'm going to get there and call it a day. But this was entirely based around the fact that my sister wasn't working today, so I didn't need to be her chauffeur because she can't drive anywhere. But she called me late last night and was like, they called me into work tomorrow. And I'm like, fuck. Because the whole plan was to go to that store, since it was going to be a learning night for the new people for Kill Team. And spend like a few hours there just talking to them. Showing them all the stuff they kind of messed up. Dude, public transport in this state? Are you kidding me? They closed bus friggin' stops down in our area, man. There's this whole write-up about how in the U.S. public transportation is like some of the worst in the world. Because lobbyists that were built around like the automotive industry were just like, nah, brah. No public transportation. Let's not do that. Everyone needs a car. And it got bad. There's no way in hell she's riding a bike the miles it would take for her to get to her job. It'd be so much easier if the job was like right down the street. Do some base fix-ups. Pull it back from the purple. Get some pink down. If we had a good public transportation system, it would be one thing. She partially uses it because she uses the she has to use the one where you have to like get it to come to your house, and it's like slightly more expensive than just a bus line. But even that one's like, they'll leave you at work. Like if the driver doesn't want to drive to where you're going or to like deal with you, they'll just mark that they went there and you weren't there. And it's like psycho shit too, because like her job has security cameras in the parking lot. So she'll call the dispatch center and be like, no one came. They're like, no, they said they were there. And then they'll check the friggin' security cameras and be like, well, guess what? They were not. It is bad. But then, yeah, the podcast recording earlier on Saturday. I might look for a game Sunday instead then. I haven't signed up for one. I really want to try these guys out, though. I got to start getting used to how they move and where they need to go. You watch any more learning videos, Jack, for how to play Death Guard? Or just, honestly, in general, the game. Because that's where I think a lot of, from what we played over the week, that's where a lot of you guys are, is like the general stuff. The knowing what positions are considered strong and standing in them with the right kind of unit in preparation for things later, stuff like that. So that's basically going to be my goal these next couple weeks leading up to the tournament. Getting my team's movement down. Mentally annotating the missions better. I think he put up the actual mission stuff. I think it's Vanguard Tactics does like the general information videos. Of being like, well, why do you want to charge this? What's the value? Like that kind of stuff. Because on one hand, it is like, oh, try not to do something that'll prevent you from getting points. But on the other, there is a value in countering the score of your opponent before they could score points. Like, there's benefits to both. Granted, when you see a lot of high-end games happen, you'll notice that a lot of the games end with scores of like 100 to 90. And that's literally because both players are being very cautious with what they do the entire game. Because they know if they go to try to stop scoring from the opponent's side, that could open them up to just being destroyed. So there's like... there's a value in the caution there, I guess, for them. But like, that's never really been my thing. Let me see what the missions are for this upcoming tournament. No info yet. There's 9 spots open for it, though. I think it's them finally getting back into the swing of it for the new year, so they'll probably get the rest of it filled soon. Unless there's a GT at the same time. That's like the only time this tournament doesn't have a full roster of 20, is when there's a GT. I do still think I need to get better with, like... I need to get the balance of, like, what's gotcha and what isn't. And I need to experience more games to try to, like, figure that out. Or watch more games, rather. I might put on some of the old War Games Live stuff. And just watch a bunch of tournaments. Not necessarily for the interactions in terms of the units, but in what they say to each other while they're playing. Because I feel like the way I play, I sort of play myself into a hole. Where I give my opponent every ounce of information as to how to defeat me while I'm talking to them. Versus waiting for them to ask the questions, which I think is more what people are supposed to be doing. Is just... that's the difference between, like, someone who can play alright versus someone who can play really well. Is, like, if you're about to move, look at it and go, can you reactive move here? Right? Like, is that the value? Or is it that I wait for you to move after informing you of the basic stuff, and then I just reactive move? And you're like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. And it's like, I did tell you at the beginning of the game that I have access to this stuff. Because on one hand, it's like, don't aim for the gotcha. On the other, is it on me to have to constantly talk about what I can do versus waiting for someone to ask? So I gotta figure that out. Because I feel like when I've played people in preparation for tournaments at the store, they're not constantly telling me everything. And I think that is actually it. Like, open book for when asked, but if you're going to make a maneuver and you're not going to ask me what I can do to counter it, like, is that on you? And then at the same time, if I do it, and the person's like, oh, you have that? And I'm like, yeah. And would I be cool for them to be like, oh, well, then I'll just get with a 9 so you don't reactive? And it's like, what's the limit there? Need to figure that out. Cause yeah, like I fight people who are brand new to the game, and I've noticed at Rogue Trader tournaments, and then I've noticed that when I'm playing against them, I'm basically just like, oh, I mean, you could do that, or recognize that this unit over here is one of my more important scoring units, and if you get rid of it, I'm gonna have a harder time scoring and then doing actions, and it's like, why am I telling this person this? Why am I giving them the counter strat to me? I need to stop. Like, if I was more okay just being like, oh, you want to move there? Sure. You want to attack that unit? That's fine. But do I have to keep it surface level is the other thing. Like, if you tell me, like, I'm gonna move my Terminators here, and I can go, I might reactive that. Like, is that the best way to do it? Is to bring up that in strategy you might do something? I almost lost to a guy playing Tyranids because I talked him into doing some very specific things. That made it really hard for me to play. I was like, you could do that. Or, just so you know, I'm pretty sure your big guys don't die to this squad over here. That squad's there for this reason. I won that game by 2 points. I could have won it by like 50. Because, like, had I let him do half the things he was talking about doing, I would have just shut him down completely. This was like his second game of 40k, his first in a tournament, as a person who normally just plays AOS. And I was like, I got you, buddy. I'll try to help where I can. Need a different brush for this. Yeah, I gotta stop doing that. I started doing it at the Kill Team tournament that I won. I started noticing in like the last couple rounds, I was playing people who were like, yeah, they're brand new to the game, and they were playing like very difficult to play squads. And I was like, I mean, if you don't come out, I'm gonna start scoring over here, and you know, you might want that to stop happening. You're gonna probably wanna... Meanwhile, I should have just been like, do your strats, bro. Because it is different. Like, when I play people who have played, know how to play, that kind of thing, there is a level of it where I stop because I don't see them doing as much, and they do ask things at the right moments. Where they're just like, what does that guy do? And I'm like, let me run that down for you so you know what's up. But then I notice, like, I do stuff where if I'm not asking you questions and I'm just, like, pushing through on, like, completing the missions and tasks, I'm doing it with full confidence that I'm fine. And I am. Kind of one I wanted to go today, but nope. Because I do need to stop doing that. To a level. I do agree. I like showing people stuff that maybe they didn't know before. Or at least helping in certain ways. But also at the same time, I feel like if I go to a tournament and I'm playing someone who has no idea how their army works, and I do, I probably shouldn't inform them of a lot of the stuff. And then, like, inform them of where to go. Because I did lose to a Nurgle guy who was, like, using a Nurgle army for the first time at a Rogue Trader tournament because, like, his friends got him that army together because he was thinking of playing Nurgle. So they threw him an army together and they were basically giving it to him as like a, you're doing well, man, kind of thing for the tournament. And man, I was constantly like, oh, don't forget if you run in, I get all those minuses. And he was like, oh yeah, I definitely want to run. And I was like, okay, shit, I shouldn't have said anything. This whole world would be a lot better if I was able to not shoot at you with -1. He shellacked me pretty hard. I mean, it was kind of close, but I still lost by a good bit. Like a good bit more than you would expect. I just want to be able to go to a local... like, we talked about this with one of the other guys who does a lot of tournaments. I don't want to go to a tournament where, like, everyone's brand new and bad, but I really want to go to a tournament where I'm not surrounded by, like, top 10s, right? I want to go to a tournament where I find someone who's maybe playing, like, a fun list and is, like, relatively competent with it, even if maybe the matchup isn't good. And we can just have fun. Like doing that kind of a thing. Like, to a degree, some of us are kind of tired that we have to, like, put way too much effort in just to, like, score some points. Versus some of these players we're going into. Like, it's cool. It's kind of like a better opportunity than most places. But, man. Let's try to get some of these flesh tones in on these guys over here. Just to try to push back the excessive paleness of the skin tone I apply normally. The main reason I'm building this many infractors is because I actually had a ton of fun my first outing with Emperor's Children at a tournament, where I still used Fulgrim because that's what I had. I had to get to 2K somehow. And then I just did the Noise Marines, the 2 squads that I had, and then I did like 1 large squad infractors, 1 small squad infractors. No, I did 1 giant squad infractors. I think I had a Land Raider in there. It was like the most mismatched list I could have possibly thrown together. But when that infractor squad would hit something, like when if there was an Armiger standing on a point because it needed to score some cleanse or whatever that it needed to do, and then I caught the Armiger off, like, just slightly, just a little bit, and I managed to get my infractors into it. Him watching me roll 42 dice with just crazy amounts of rerolls and lethal, such a good feeling. I kind of want to do it again, even if it's still not that great. What's cool about Peerless, though, is I don't need to put Exultants in these squads to achieve that. You just charge and then declare lethal, and you get the same benefits. So they don't need to be led properly. So technically, I could run my 2 giant bricks without the Exultants. Save some points. Although I probably should use them. Just because they themselves are basically the, I'm going to trigger my bonus and take out your tank real quick kind of units. God, they hit so hard. They hit so goddamn hard. One Exultant in cost is like a small squad of Infractors. And I'm going to have enough on hand for 2 big squads, 1 small squad. The question is whether or not I get this Land Raider, I guess. If I get a second Land Raider, I might just do Rapid Ingress like an idiot. Having 2 Land Raiders on field with reroll 1s. That could be pretty fun. Just want to run up on someone with a Land Raider filled with Flawless Blades. Hop out, they get full reroll 1s. Tank gets full reroll 1s. Ugh. The level of gross. Considering how many people take squads that do like minus to rolls, I kind of want to... I know one of the detachments has the upgrade. I think it might have been Peerless. Oh, so in Rapid Evisceration, every unit that hops out of a transport for the rest of the foreseeable, I think, turn gets rerolls of 1s on hits for everything that they do. Shooting, melee, all of it. That detachment sucked to the point where Games Workshop went, let's help it out a little bit. And they declared that all vehicles that are transports would also get rerolls of 1s. And Land Raiders are transports. So the entire premise of that detachment is to put just a bunch of people in vehicles. So in the right moment, you hop them out and then get all your rerolls and just go in. And the trick is you want at least one of those squads, maybe an Infractor squad, I think is the way it would work. I would need to check it again. There is a piece of equipment. Oh no, it could be anyone. So you could technically do a full Flawless with Lucius inside of a Land Raider. And for a command point, after you kill whatever unit you go into, which that unit will kill whatever it goes into, you pay a command point, and as long as you're within 6 inches of the Land Raider you popped out of, you hop back in. So you basically reload your ability to like reroll your ones. Yep, and then you can uppy downy land raiders from table edges. That's the same list where you could have a guy with an upgrade that makes it so the land raiders can come in turn 1 from reserve. So you could have... The idea was to take one land raider filled with noise marines, right? Like a noise marine squad, and then I think an infractor squad. I need to see what the pluses and minuses were for that. You have one of those just sitting in reserve that you could bring in turn 1 and just be like, I'm here now, and then drop all your people out. Shoot someone completely to death. You could rapid ingress it if you wanted to, if you go second. That would be obnoxious, just to be like, alright, cool, you're done moving. Land Raider coming in. Alright, let me get... Actually, we got an okay paper towel here. Because we're going to be doing everyone's favorite... Frickin' neon powder. We need pink. And we need blue. I use blue as kind of like a slight burst here or there on the bases to give the bases a little bit more detail. So you can see like height differences and things. Problem is, I think Land Raiders are like 200 points. I don't even know what that list would look like, honestly. Well, let's take it. Let's take a second. Let's go over what that list would look like. Hiya. What would this even look like? We have to start with Land Raiders. Is this low? No. Boop, boop. We're already at almost a quarter of my points cost with the 2 Land Raiders alone. Let me double check and make sure the reroll ones is transport and not dedicated transport. Because if it's dedicated transport, then I'm less interested. Yep, just transport. If it is a transport model or you're disembarked from a transport model this turn, reroll the hit rolls of 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. I just realized that was there. Holy shit. That's actually kind of big. That's 4 las cannons hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, wounding on average on 3s, rerolling 1s. That's not bad. I mean, it sucks because that's a lot of points on things that, like, strategically speaking, both of these would need to be on the board's edges, or at least one of them would be in reserve, one of them would be in a position to push mid, potentially. Let me see something. Data sheets. Land Raider. Transport. Terminator's Flawless Blades. Flawless Blades are considered Terminator, basically. It can carry 14 units or a total of 7 Flawless Blades. So one of them could have a full squad of Flawless Blades or 2 small squads of Flawless Blades and maybe a Lucius in there with them. The other one, I don't know if I like that, though. This is a hard one. I feel like both Land Raiders would want one squad Flawless in it, like a small squad. Which would then allow a full squad of Noise Marines and a Cacophonous to be in that with them. And then I would have potentially 2 Rhinos for Infractors. Because, yeah. Hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, 4 to 8 inches, strength 12, AP 3, D6 plus 1. 4 attacks in total. It's not bad. Let's say 2 Flawless, 2 Noise. Okay, just over the halfway marker. I noticed that people don't usually lean into Cacophonists all that often with Noise Marines. They do give them sustain 1. They do kind of complete the bonus into infantry with the possibility of more mortals. But I also agree that that's 140 points if I'm going to have leaders in these 2 squads. So this would be packed in there. Probably 2 squads Torments, 2 squads Infracts. Do I want to go big on Infractors, though? Because right now this would be 2 Rhinos half full. Go to full. I have 400 points left. This is actually not bad. Well, it's bad, but it's not bad at the same time. Because the idea is these Rhinos are basically become mechanics. Like, they just sit back. They hang out. They do their thing. The Land Raiders technically can be that way as well, as long as it's not an action, or if your opponent doesn't have any heavy armor anymore, then you don't have to care about the las cannons as much. If monsters and stuff are dead, Land Raiders are free to just exist. So far we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 drops at the beginning of the game. No, 4, 5, 6, because these guys would come in as well. These would sit out. And then in total for actionable units, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12's not bad. And to still have 400 points, it would come down to, like, I could take Lucius. I could use him as a flex, either a lead or mechanics. And then maybe 2 Lord Exalts, leaving me 90 points. Battle round saving throw has failed for friendly. This is the cool one where if you keep this guy close to a vehicle, you can blank 1 damage on it per battle round. That is horrifying if you consider Land Raiders. If you can keep a Land Raider hyper close to a single squad of infractors, you basically have a Land Raider that can just straight blank a single damage. Opponent's shooting phase, just after having a shot. Select Emperor's Children unit within 9 inches of the bearer that was hit by one or more of those attacks. Selected friendly transport. Oh, this is the reactive embark. Yeah, you could just get a reactive embark on a squad. There's no DPs in this, which people would consider bad, but honestly, the Demon Prince thing seems to mostly work around whether or not there's an enhancement that makes them more powerful, like more damaging. Oh, I remember. Spearhead Striker. Yeah, this goes on one squad. This 100% goes on one of these squads. Leaving me 70 points. Which could turn into some Chaos Spawn for some mechanics. And I'd honestly be okay with that. These guys are hard to lock down. Honestly, this is not a bad list idea. I mean, it won't be good, but it's also not the worst. 2 small squads flawless. You could toss Lucius into one of them or leave Lucius out of the vehicle as a lone op for himself, depending on what you're fighting. You got a little bit of a mechanics chaos spawn unit. And then just 2 very scary Land Raiders. Filled with wild amounts of rerolls. A single Land Raider dumping these 2 things out of it. And then going. Like, if it's within range of you and it's just there and scary, that can be pretty good. I already have the Rhinos. I would need the extra Land Raider. I don't know. The alternative is just go big with on-foot units and then go into Peerless Bladesman. That one I would probably run at least 2, if not 3 full-size squads of Flawless in. Oh, just a picture of a frickin' a Chaos Spawn coming in for the people's elbow. Space Marine 2 really played up the idea of a Chaos Spawn in a way where it's like they're so much cooler in that game than in reality. Like, they really are. They're hard to kill, which is, yeah, that's fine, but like the damage they output is also wild for some reason. When they said they were adding them, in my head, I just had a picture of a bunch of Chaos Spawns. Like, occasionally, like, 2 of them, right? Just occasionally 2 of them. And maybe if you're fighting, like, regular Chaos, like, cultists, one of them will turn into a Chaos Spawn. I was like, alright, that'd be cool. No. I went back to play that game, and occasionally it's like, alright, incoming spawn wave of, like, 20 Chaos Spawn. And they're all running at you at full tilt speed, jumping off of walls, doing like crazy luchador style combat. And it's like, whoa, what is all this? I'm gonna die of clown lung. Just breathing this shit into my lungs. I'm being Jack. You'd say your Chaos Spawn do well, right? You know, killing an Emperor's champion with fully reactive wounds. I've had Chaos Spawn do awesome things, which always makes me sad when I watch, like, the big top-end tournament games on War Games Live and stuff, and no one's using them. It genuinely makes me feel sad. They're super cheap, super fast. They can go through walls. They never suffer battle shock unless you force them to. I don't know if there's a model in the game that has an anti that works for them. There has to be like one guy who's anti-beast, right? It's probably in like the Space Wolf army list or something. But outside of that, like no one is. No one's anti-beast. So they never have to deal with anti with a high toughness. That's amazing. I'm an advocate of Chaos Spawn, and I just never see anyone using them. The Corn ones are pretty cool. The Thousand Sun ones are awesome for just sitting on points and holding them. Or running in and screening. Like, if you've got a lot of armor in your team, 2 Chaos Spawn can stand across an alleyway and keep you stuck in a corner. For, like, a turn or two. That's crazy. In the Thousand Suns detachments, the monster detachment that they have, the mutant one, if you have a leader in that army and he dies, you can pay a command point and turn it into a Chaos Spawn. I mean, absolutely not worth, like, most of the time. I feel like maybe for scoring, if they killed him in, like, their turn, and then there's something nearby that you need to get to score on it, that could be kind of cool. There's a little bit of, like, that back and forth BS of the true value of resurrection, where if you're just off an objective, and if you got resurrected and got put on that objective, you would score for it. That's kind of where it really works. Especially if, like, that 1-inch distance you're about to be put back up in, because you cannot be in close combat with an enemy when you resurrect. Like, you can kind of trick yourself into being on an objective for dying, but it's one of those, like, so far at the other end of the spectrum strategies that maybe it happens once in your entire time playing the edition. And it'll probably happen in a game where it's inconsequential. You're like, yeah, I got my 5 points. I still lost by 20. Thank God I did that. Real question, chat. Do we think 11th fixes Hellbrutes? Please say yes. Please. Please. Also, who else is prepared for the Paul is bad at stuff breakdown for when Centurions are legended? Like, honestly, if they made Hellbrutes, like, 30 points less, like, right now, and just kept them the way they were, I'd be okay. I'd be like, alright, yeah. I mean, if I'm gonna pay for a shit unit, it better not be expensive to put on the field. The only place they're considered okay is in, I want to say it's called Gore Track in World Eaters. But for the most part, they don't really have any good combinations with their armies. You would probably take one in most of the Chaos Space Marine detachments, just because it does have that aura where when you Dark Pact, you get both of your Dark Pacts instead of just one. Which, I mean, that's like universally good. But normally that Hellbrute that you have that on is sitting behind a wall the entire game, so it doesn't die. And it's not really scoring points for you, and it's just backed by your Vindicators and stuff that you have at the back line. Versus their, the brothers that they have across the pond, the Dreadnoughts. Which, I mean, you've seen Rand's Dreadnoughts. Like, they actually get work done. They go do things. They're pretty durable. They're all very close in statting. The key difference, I think, is that the Thousand Suns one has an invulnerable, whereas the rest don't. But it's an invulnerable of 5, so it's like, whatever. Oh, dude, I would have a Doradero Dreadnought instantly. I'd be like, yo, get me this. Get me the thing with friggin' 8 auto cannons on its arms. Let's do it. The DC Dreadnought is beefy. The ranged ones that get their blanking benefits or whatever, or like minus damage, are pretty good. Like, they're all really good. Just universally. We're just out here wondering what's happening with our Hellbrutes. And the general understanding is like, stop thinking about them. Lean into Mauler Fiends and the frickin' Forge Fiends. Alright, I guess. I guess the reality is, if they redid the Defiler, made it more interesting, maybe made it more mobile by shrinking it down a little bit, and then that became our version of the new Dread, I could see that. There was that leak where we were supposed to get one, but who knows when that's going to happen. And I know one of the pictures was like, look, it's Emperor's Children, but the reality is Chaos Space Marines use them. So it's probably not Emperor's Children. It might just be a Slanesh marked. I wonder if they're going to like merge Soul Grinders and Defilers into like a single kit. And that's what they're planning on doing. Because that would probably be smart. Supposedly. My buddy said, I think he was watching like Valric talk about it or something. And they showed like super grainy photos of what looked like a Slanesh Mark Defiler. I'm gonna see if I can find it. One month ago, Mutilator's getting a refresh, new Defiler. Let's say I do that, and then I mute this tab. Mute. Let me see if I can find the pictures. Oh, that's what Mutilators are. They're the frickin' melee version Obliterators. Those could be cool to come back. Does he have the pictures for the Defiler? No. I think he just talks about it, maybe. That could be good if they did the Oblit Mutilator kit separate, because a lot of people are very annoyed at the fact that you can't get Oblits without Venomance, or the Venom Crawlers. That's wild to me that that's still the case. Because I got my Venom Crawlers specifically for my Vashdor list. I had zero intent on using Obliterators. And they just came in the box. Now I have, I think, 4 Obliterators that are painted up like my Emperor's Children that I don't want to use. That would have been cool if Obliterators were part of Emperor's Children. I would have been like, oh, okay. I could have just used them. Yeah, I'm not seeing... It doesn't look like he has the pictures. But I'm guessing he's saying he's seen pictures. Which, you know, leak hype cycles. They are what they are. Alright. Now for the minor detail. What up, Drunken? Read that in a Swedish accent. What up, pimp? Some of the people I watch in GTA RP Swedish, and that's usually how they introduce themselves when they talk to new players. What up, pimp? The classic stuck at work moment. We are coming to the end of this batch of Emperor's Children. That's fine, man. In total, or for this little batch? This batch was 12, 22, 23. In total, I'd have to consider some things. Four-day process. After building, of course. Might be close. I mean, if this is 23, then I've got another 15, 25. That would be just under 50. Sixes. Yeah, probably close to 100. Let's see. Fulgrim, Lucius. Total of 3 Demon Prince units. The 12 total Noise Marines, 2 Cacophonists, 1 Exultant, 3 models that I have as kind of conversions for Exultants, a Sorcerer model, 2 Rhinos, a Land Raider. Might be under 100. Might be close, though. Now, you want the more than 100. That's my 1,000 Suns. Oh, no, technically, okay. If you count demons from the demon detachment as Emperor's Children, because I did paint them in the same style, and I only use them for my Emperor's Children, definitely. Because I also have those 2 squads of demonettes, so that's 20 extra. Oh, wait. 3 squads demonettes. That's 30 right there. So, yeah, I should have it. We do. Not a lot, we do. We got Rhinos, we got Land Raiders, we got Mauler Fiends, and we have a Helldrake. Weirdly, our Helldrake is +1 toughness over all other Helldrakes. I did not expect that. Part of my brain wants to buy a Helldrake to make an Emperor's Children Helldrake, because I think it would look cool. But also, as a proud owner of 2 Thousand Sun Helldrakes, I can safely say that there's really not a lot of value in owning Helldrakes. They're too weird. They're not good enough at, like, anything. There are a lot of points for, like, 1 turn of possible screening and shutdown. And that's it. I wish we had more vehicles, but we don't. But maybe not. Honestly, we should probably just be more fleshy than anything else. Hopefully Kill Team brings us maybe like a cult-style unit. That could be good. Or maybe some kind of middle ground between Flawless Blade and Infractor. That could also be useful. I mean, it doesn't seem like it, but I kind of was hoping we'd have, like, one vehicle that was, like, a Dirge Caster style vehicle. I don't know if you were into the game back in, like, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but there were a lot of vehicles you could give this thing called a Dirge Caster to that would cause, like, problems in the area. And I felt like that could have been a thing for Emperor's Children. It's like a Hellbrute that's just covered in speakers. And it just walks at the enemy and causes, like, leadership problems and stuff. Ah. I think the conversion for the stripper pole Rhino exists. But I also like to take my stuff to tournaments, so... Okay, we still got a good bit of blue left. We might get that other Land Raider, I don't know. Again, it's a Horus Heresy Land Raider. Which is slightly smaller than a 40k Land Raider. But if you go up to the Spartan class version, it's way too big compared to a Land Raider. By a lot. So there's really no happy, like, middle ground at all. Alright, the big moment. The applying your signature at the end of a painting moment. So flat, Nuir Black. There's a lot of schools of thought about what to do with the rings that go around. There's some good ideas, some good options. But if you don't do black, you're a heathen, I'm just saying. Like, I understand why you want to mark out, like, the specialist units and stuff in squads so people can see where they are, and it's more helpful and, you know, all that good stuff. But if you ain't painting black rings, straight up heathen. Hell yeah. Oh, there's something so cathartic about getting to this point. The feeling of completing a job. My can varnish is room temp, so as long as I'm quick when I'm outside, spraying it on, we should be fine today because it is pretty dry. It's just cold AF. So if you're new Drunken Knight, are you picking a team or are you just interested in watching stuff? What's up with that? What's up with you? Why are you here? Something fun about the universe that makes you, like, interested in it? We got a lot of new people playing. I'm playing EC, I can't kink shame. EC is the harbinger of all kinks. All of them. We know you like being bench pressed by muscle mommies. And we're here for it, bro. Ugh. Oh, we are so close. I really want to be able to hit them with varnish before having to run out. That way they can be done by the time I get back. I can toss them in my my stronghold box. I can maybe pull Fulgrim out of it. Put him in one of my display cases. Oh. This is the last of the flawless blades for this. Maybe I'll save my exultant for the end. Oh, just doing the head down thing, trying to get to the finish line. Alright, Jack. I'm still waiting on Aaron to contact me about the Necron stuff. Since he was talking about looking into getting things. Oh, last unit. So yeah, what sucks even more about not going to this event thing tonight to like help people out and learn Kill Team is that I most likely won't be getting the Land Raider tonight, which means I'm going to have less time to paint it if I do get it to thus run Rapid Evisceration. There we go. Perfectly fine. Full squads complete. Which also means I probably won't need to stream for a bit unless I get another project together. Although I do have my Raptors that I keep putting off. I'm kind of sad about that. Like, I want to finish them, but I don't know. Every time I look at them, I'm just like not driven to try. There's just something off about them. I really shouldn't have picked this paint scheme. I should have did something like different a little bit. But yeah, Sisters of Sound have now way more units to work with towards their goal of being mediocre at Rogue Trader tournaments. Good stuff. Good stuff indeed. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Ugh. Don't forget we have a community Discord linked below in either the YouTube or Twitch section. Oh, there's the phone call that I was wondering when I was good. Hang on. Wow, that took a lot longer than I thought it was going to. Okay, I gotta get moving. I gotta get these things starting to be varnished. Holy shit. Maybe stream tomorrow, not sure. Raptors still need to be finished. But other than that, yeah. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Till next time, guys. Later.